How Bajan Canadian threw his career away. Climbing to the top in the gaming space of YouTube is something a lot of people aspire to, but few can pull off. And one of the people who successfully made it and thrived on the platform was now the 29-year-old Mitch Hughes, or as he's popularly known, Bajan Canadian. Mitch is on everyone's list of the best YouTube gamers of all time, and a lot of fans felt the impact of his absence when he initially stopped being active. Although he later reappeared on the scene, his career wasn't on the same trajectory he had previously been on, leaving everyone to speculate about the possible reasons why he seemingly threw away everything he had been working for. Well, if you're curious to find out what ultimately happened to Mitch and what he does now, join us as we delve into it. Bajan Canadian, whose real name is Mitch Hughes, was a Canadian who had spent his formative years on the picturesque island of Barbados before he broke into the YouTube scene. In fact, he once explained this to be the reason behind the alias, as if not only it reflects his Canadian birthplace, but also his upbringing on the Caribbean island of Barbados, where the locals are known as Barbadians or Bajans. He and his family, however, later moved to the United States briefly, before moving to the Montreal area suburbs of Beaconsfield, Quebec, where he completed his education at Beaconsfield High School in 2011. But before that achievement, Mitch had already taken an interest in gaming and had joined YouTube in March of 2010. During this phase, his content primarily revolved around Minecraft minigames that included titles such as survival games, Battle Dome, parkour speedruns, adventure maps, and more. As a beginner, he frequently collaborated with fellow YouTubers Jerome Pizza Hut and Essundi on his Bajan Canadian channel. During the point when he and his family relocated to the United States, which happened to be his 4th to 6th grade year, he crossed paths with Jerome, a fellow gamer whom he would grow to partner with. After moving back and settling in Montreal, Canada, he had become more proficient and engaged in way more competitive games. In his videos, he playfully incorporated slangs inspired by his interests in food, beverages, internet culture, video games, television shows, hip-hop, and dubstep music. This was also being adapted into his widely recognized catchphrase, "Slap that like button with your forehead."
You smack that like button with your forehead?
Mitch's fascination with food and beverages extended to the name of his former Minecraft server, which he called The Fridge. He later merged with Jerome and Pizza Hut's server, which he called The Hut, to ultimately form The Nexus. Additionally, Mitch began posing content related to games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, Zoo Tycoon 2, and Pokemon, although many of those videos were not accessible to the general public. Before his extended hiatus in 2019, Mitch became an active member of the prominent YouTube community known as Team Crafted, which was initially formed in 2012. The group was simply a bunch of gamers who owned YouTube channels and came together to play against one another. They consisted mainly of 7 members, which included Sky Does Minecraft, whose real name was Adam Dahlberg, Jason Probst, who was known as Minecraft Universe, Quentin Husky Mudkips, Junea, Jerome ASF Jerome Assetti, Tyler Deadlocks Ellis, Ian Sasundi Stapleton, and of course, Mitch Bajan Canadian Hughes. The idea that they could become a team can be traced back to a proposal made by Deadlocks to Sky Does Minecraft in a Skype call. This call inadvertently led to the recruitment of several members, including Mitch, but over time, members of the team had some transitions, and this appeared to have an undesired negative effect on its united front. This later led fans to speculate whether this was part of what triggered Mitch and had him go off the grid. Everything appeared to have been going smoothly until back in 2019 when Bajan abruptly halted the release of any new content on his YouTube channel. This was really strange, but considering creators took breaks and came back stronger, no one thought too much about it. And then, in addition to halting the release of videos on his YouTube, Mitch also ceased his social media activity. Due to this, a lot of people got worried and different speculations arose about the reasons behind his sudden absence. The most prevailing theory suggested a possible possible rift between Mitch and Adam of Sky Does Minecraft. Speculations arose because the duo had apparently gotten into a bit of an argument as a result of their different methods when it came to their team's visibility. You see, the team had achieved remarkable success in their collective ventures and individual careers, but they needed to gain more ground, so they hired a new manager to help out with this. But instead, they all slowly began to drift away. Deadlocks and Sky Does Minecraft then made the decision to leave the team, leading to some serious consequences. Questions were raised about why the group's own founder decided to leave the group, and newer conjectures circulated regarding internal conflicts, disputes among members, and sudden inactivity on channels, all of which led back to Mitch somehow being at the center of it all. But despite the lingering drama, most members appeared to be on good terms. Sky's channel transitioned to Sky Does Everything, including music creation, while other members continued various content on their individual channels. While it's still unclear what exactly triggered the whole fallout, some attribute responsibility to Mitch, suggesting that he played a role in enabling the team's shift toward a more commercialized approach driven by their manager. Similarly, others place the blame squarely on Sky for his decision to withdraw. Regardless of whose fault it is, in the aftermath of losing more than half of its members, the channel fell into silence, leading the wider community to perceive the team as disbanded. Following this, Mitch also withdrew from social media, and his withdrawal from media platforms left his dedicated fan base bewildered by the unexpected turn of events. But in the summer of 2021, Mitch, once inactive, made a comeback where he transformed his channel to not only feature Minecraft videos, but also music videos on his channel. He also offered some insight into the reasons for his absence. This was probably in an effort to stop the circulation of speculations, and possibly just to give his supporters a little bit of closure. Well, whatever the reason was, he appeared to think the best place to do this was within the comments section of one of his videos. He expressed that he'd like to express his gratitude to everyone who had stood by him for so long. Moving on, he stated that in the past year, he focused the majority of his content creation on gaming instead of videos. Now he was back, and he hoped to see Skyblock Isles thrive. He then went on to thank and appreciate his supporters. In a Twitter post from June of the same year, he had hinted at his involvement with a project related to Skyblock, stating, "Skyblock, but it's actually not really Skyblock. Anyone want to try the game mode my team and I are working on all year?" Well, nonetheless, while these tweets appeared to signal a resurgence, Bajan largely maintained a low online profile in the intervening years, with sporadic posts on his various platforms. For someone who had been away for so long, his comeback wasn't as prolific as it could have been, and his heart didn't seem to really be in the gaming world anymore. And speaking of his heart, the one notable constant during his time in the spotlight and his sporadic posts following his comeback was his long-term girlfriend, Jess. In September of 2021, he came out to announce via his Instagram that he had proposed to her, and she said yes, and he thought to share the exciting news with his fans. His now wife, whose full name is Jessica Pitronero, also hails from Barbados, and she and Mitch dated for about 7 years and were engaged for about 2 more. They both shared the news of their wedding occasion and other fun happenings on their Instagram, giving fans who had always been rooting for them closure about their relationship ending in the happily ever after everyone wished for. But whilst fans may have had closure on Mitch's love life, the same can't be said about his gaming career. His recent posts on both Instagram and Twitter have been few and far between, and the same can be said for his YouTube. It appears he now mostly focuses on other endeavors, often working behind the scenes within the gaming industry. But as when he decided to step away from streaming, he was at the pinnacle of his career, boasting over 5 million subscribers and amassing millions of views. Now, everything he does is a mere shadow of what he could have done if he stayed on. Regardless, many of his supporters have shared that as long as Mitch finds contentment in his newly chosen path, they're pretty much cool with whatever he does. But let us know what you think was the main reason behind Mitch's initial hiatus. Was it the falling out with Sky, or do you suppose he was just done?